So, palms join everyone.
Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Amitabha, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday study group. And today is our fourth review on this global Buddhist examination. And today we are happy to have Sir Erwin to lead us few topics. Okay, I'll pass the floor to him. Thank you.
Okay, Umitofo, and thank you, Safo. So I'll share my screen. So these are the 4 topics for today. And I hope I'll be able to give a good discussion. But before that, the previous discussion, we always have the games in the end. But today, we'll do the polls first tonight. Okay, so let's see my mouse. The polls will give everybody a chance to answer. So unlike before where only a few will be able to answer. So let's get some answers first from all these questions. It's only 4 questions. So hopefully everyone can participate. Don't worry, you will not fail if you get the wrong answer.
Why cannot submit? I have to close.
I think you just need to answer.
Okay.
I don't know, but somebody submitted already. So even those who don't have your videos on, you can participate in this. If you're too shy to show your face, you can participate.
Well, 3 is so tricky.
No more. We have 8 answers here, whereas we have 15 participants. Somebody just log off, so we have 14. Okay, we'll just give
global
2 more
exam going
minutes.
Yes. I'm just curious.
Hmm?
Is the global exam going to be like this?
I don't know, but these questions did come from the guide.
Yeah, I know. I saw one mistake already.
Okay. Jerome, have you tried the Chinese test?
Yeah, I did already. That one, 5
Is-
mistakes without reviewing.
Is through Google Form, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's simple.
It's a Google Form. I just go through the. But that one, I think there's you cannot really have like there's you cannot like as you submit. You have to just guess and then check if you got the right answer or not per question.
Ah,
The Chinese one. So there's the
Chinese.
Chinese question, right? And then I have to answer it myself, and then I try press. Did I got the right answer or not? It's not. It's like that. They have to close it again because if I go to the next page, it'll show up the answer right away. So I have to you have to take it on and off the answer.
Very honest.
Okay, last 30 seconds. We have 9 participants who answered, so hopefully the rest will try to answer. And I'll not announce who got the right or wrong answer, but what we'll do is after, we'll run this again and see if you were able to change your answer.
I thought Auntie Luisa was calling a friend.
Later, we have a game also. Okay, so we have 9 answers. I'll end this for now. And let's see if you can find the answer during the discussion and change the answer. Okay, so I'll show you the result and show everyone the result. I have to stop sharing first. I already stopped sharing and it's saying. It's not allowing me to share the result. Why? I don't know. I cannot share the result. There's a bug in this.
But after that, it disappears, Erwin.
Yeah, it asked me to stop sharing and then.
There, I see it now.
You can see it?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay. I thought it's telling me to stop sharing my screen. So that's the result right now. I'll tell you the answer later. Okay. So we'll go on with the topic. So tonight's topic is actually very interesting. So we'll cover 6 sense organs, metaphors of the mind, souls, and 8 winds. Okay. So many of us knows the 5 senses, right? And we are taught in science that the 5 senses are the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and the body. So in Buddhism, we always talk about the 6 senses. So the 6 is actually the mind. So the mind is one of the sense organ from Buddhist perspective. So these are all called the sixth sense organ. So what are these? So let's start with the eyes. So when you see this picture, the eyes sense something, saw this picture, and normally we react. And maybe some or maybe all of you can notice that your saliva is starting to come out by just seeing at the picture, right? So that's what happens most of the time. We react to all these sensation. But more so, we use the eyes to see the fault of others, right? So we're very good in looking at others' fault. And with the ears, so some of us likes soft music. Some of us like loud music, and different preference, different perception from the ear. And more so, many of us likes to hear or listen to praises and gossips. Just recently, there was a live argument on Facebook about somebody who doesn't want to pay for the food that she ordered, and many people started sharing this live video, and that person became very, very popular. The nose also is always looking for something. This one is known as the most expensive perfume. It costs $100,000+ US. I don't know if you compare it with a $100 perfume, if it's really 1,000 times better smelling, right? So no, at certain point, no matter how expensive it is, you cannot detect the difference between the more expensive ones and the lesser cost. You cannot justify the how many times it is more expensive. And then our tongue, of course, we always likes to eat. Durian, I don't like durian though because of the smell, but for many people, they like the smell. And we always use our mouth to say harsh words. And then our body, we always look for comfort, hug from other people, seeking external comfort. And again, in Buddhism, the mind is always looking for gains, benefits, fame, wealth, and success. And at the same time, it is always judging. Looking at the lemon, you will judge whether you like it or not. Listening to the sound, you will judge whether it's too loud. For the young ones, they will say, oh, the classical music is so boring, right? So the mind is always judging. So this, what's happening is we are receiving all the stimulation for the senses. And the mind is the one perceiving and making judgment. However, in Buddhism, this is what Venerable Master Xingyon wants us to make use of our senses. So with the eyes, we reflect and try to see our own faults and mistakes. With the ears, we try to happily accept admonishments and advice. With the nose, we transcend beyond worldly smell and smell the fragrant virtues of the sages. So instead of looking for worldly smell, we look at the fragrant virtues of sages. And with the tongue, we try to spread the truth, speak good words, and propagate the dharma. And with the body, we try to have an upright posture, use it to meditate and prostrate to the Buddha. And the mind, what do we do with the mind? Practice loving kindness, compassion, justice, peace, try to help others, wish to relieve the suffering of others, searching peace and happiness for oneself and others. Okay? So this is how we should be cultivating. The same 6 senses, 2 different way of using it. Right? So what can you see from the difference between the two? Anybody? Oops.
I noticed like the first one is more on, it's outward, the way you look at others, and more on gain for yourself. It's more plus for me and minus to others, while the second slide is more on plus to others, minus to me.
So the first one,
it's like sacrifice. The first one is more. The second one is more on sacrificing myself for others, while the first one is more on. Well, it's just more about what I want.
Yeah. So the first one, if you notice, all the arrows is coming to me. All the external things, all the external stimulation we want. Right? We want it to have. We want to have it all. Whereas the other one, the second slide, is more on from within us going out. Now, if you try to analyze all of this from outside, all of these are very limited. Right? And not only that, it's not in our control because it's outside. Whereas the other one, it's all coming from us. And I just like to correct your perception that here we are giving away and we are at a loss. No, we are not at a loss, because if you give out loving kindness, compassion, you give out loving kindness and compassion, but you don't lose loving kindness and compassion even if you give it out. So you don't lose anything actually, right? So here you can always give and give without ever running out of it, right? So this is how we try to change how we use our 6 senses. Now the mind, we have to understand the mind. Remember, it's part of the 6 senses. So let's understand the mind more. So here you'll see that in the Samyukta Agama, it refers to the mind and says, because the mind is afflicted, living beings are afflicted. Because the mind is purified, living beings are purified. So in short, whether we are afflicted or we are purified, it's still the same mind, right? So the mind spells the difference whether we are afflicted or purified. So afflictions are things like hatred, jealousy, ignorance, hypocrisy, selfishness, and attachments. So if you practice this, suffering will surely follow. If the mind is purified, joy, happiness, liberation, nirvana will surely follow. Okay, so let's try to, so the practice of the mind, the practice of the Dharma requires cultivating the mind. So the mind really is very important, because we do a lot of things with the mind, and we have to convert malice through kindness, through the practice of kindness, doubt through faith, selfishness through magnanimity, restlessness through tranquility, and delusion through the truth. Okay, the reason we are deluded is because we don't understand the truth, or we don't know the truth. In the highest state, one remedies a discriminating mind through a non-discriminating mind. So remember earlier I said that the mind is always judging. So if something is favorable for us, we are happy. If something is not favorable for us, then we get sad. Okay, so that's because of the discriminating mind. So we try to practice that the mind will not be always trying to judge things. So the mind is, the Buddha always refers to the mind in 10 different ways. So what are these 10? So the mind is like a monkey. Why is it like a monkey? Because it is so restless, keeps on going about. If you observe a monkey, even if you tie down the monkey or the monkey is inside the cage, it will always go left, right, up, down, forward, backward, never end. So our mind is like the monkey, always thinking here, thinking there, going to the future, going to the past, and very difficult to control. So many people, when they start meditating, they say, it's so difficult. I don't know what I'm thinking, so many things, right? So it's also referred to as a flash of lightning. Why? Because it's so fast. As I am talking to you now, you could be listening to me, but at the same time, your mind is also thinking of something else. So we even say that the mind can multitask. It seems like multitasking, but it's doing so many things in a split second. It's also referred to as the wild deer because it keeps on chasing all the sense objects. It's always depending on our 5 external senses, sense organs. It is considered a thief because it steals our merits, steals our good merits. It is also an adversary because it causes suffering to the body. So whenever we do something bad, somewhere along the line, we will suffer. It is also known as the servant that brings many vexations and annoyances. So many times we tell our servant what to do, they don't do it properly, we get angry. Or we tell our staff, this is what you need to do, you have to submit it by tomorrow, and then the next day, they don't give it to you, it causes all sorts of problems. At the same time, it is also a king. Why? Because it reigns supreme over our body. In psychology, and especially those doctors who practice holistic kind of medicine, they always tell us, do not depend on medicine, but also you have to be You have to think positive because they know that the mind can affect the body, right? So these doctor have realized it without even knowing about humanistic Buddhism. They already realized that the mind can affect the body. So it is also considered as an ever-flowing spring because it is inexhaustible. Okay, inexhaustible as in it doesn't stop what it is supposed to do. Because if the mind stop doing what it's supposed to do, maybe we're dead, right? It is inexhaustible. It doesn't get tired. It's like a painter. We paint an image of what we want. Okay, so especially some people, they have a very good imagination. And I remember a story about somebody who asked the Buddha. He asked the Buddha, Buddha, why is the world so much suffering? It's not nice. It's full of suffering for me. And then the Buddha pointed to the ground, and the ground everything turned to gold. The Buddha said to the person, this is how I see the world. So in short, our mind, how we see the world is created by the mind. It's painted by the mind. If we see it as not nice, it's created by the mind. If we see it as nice, it's created by the mind. That's why it is referred to as the painter. And the last but not the least, mind is like a space. It is boundless. The true mind is the Dharma body that neither arises nor ceases. You can say the mind is boundless because the mind can go anywhere. If we talk about USA, then your mind is in USA right now, right? If we talk about the space, the moon, your mind is in the moon, right? So there's no limit. So all of these metaphors depict the mind in a deluded, no, not all, but some of those depicted above depicts a mind in a deluded and unwholesome state, which one should not harbor. So most of this in the beginning part, monkey, flashing lights, wild deer, thief, these are the unwholesome part. Okay, but towards the later, ever-flowing spring, king, painter is neither wholesome nor wholesome. But in the end, one should transform and purify the mind by transforming an unwholesome mind into a wholesome one, from ignorance to enlightenment, from delusion to the truth, and from delusive consciousness into prajna wisdom. Once true mind comes into being. With it, there is nothing impossible to achieve. So this is referring to the mind as space. Okay. So we should practice to be able to make our mind like a space, able to accept everything. So in Buddhism, we always talk about the 8 consciousness. So the 5 organs or the 5 senses is also the 5 consciousness, right? Because all these 5 senses allows us to perceive. So all of this, the eyes has a consciousness of sight, the ears has the consciousness of listening, nose, smell, tongue, taste, body, feeling. Okay. Then the 6th consciousness is the mind. The mind is the one that perceives not only from these 5, but also by itself, right? So many ideas are just created by the mind. It is not created by any of the 5 senses. And then the seventh consciousness are the manas, which I call the judgmental mind. This is the mind that say I want or I don't want, who makes all the judgment. And then the eighth consciousness is the alaya consciousness, which is called the storehouse consciousness or the storehouse mind. Now, this is what many people would say, would refer as the soul. However, in Buddhism, we do not speak of the soul, but rather we use consciousness. But Venerable Master Xing Yun said that if it will help people understand Buddhist concept better by using the word soul, then he said it's okay to use the word soul. Okay, so for many people, they cannot remove the soul out of the person. Then you can interchange soul and consciousness, especially related to the eighth consciousness. So the eighth consciousness, yes.
Sorry, Brother Erwin. I have a question. Is the seventh consciousness also, you call it the discriminating mind? Is that the
Yes.
same?
That's why it's always judging.
Okay, thank you.
So in the eighth consciousness, it's very important because sometimes we're doing things and let's say you're having difficulty, you're having problem, nobody's helping you, or whatever you're doing, it always turns out bad. And the reason for that is what's in store here in your eighth consciousness are something like this. There's more bad than good. So remember a few weeks back or even last week, we talked about the account or the merits account in our storehouse. It is not, you cannot exchange one from the other, right? So if bad things are happening in our life, then chances are this is what's in our alaya consciousness. So the more we need to counter that by producing more good merits, by speaking good words, thinking good thoughts, and doing good deeds. So we have to be conscious about it and try to counter every difficulty that we may face. Because if we're not aware of this, then we don't know what's happening. Why am I having difficulty? Right? So if this is the situation, then chances are in our life, more things that will happen in our life will be good. Because in the illustration, 2/3 of our merits are good, 1/3 is bad. So chances are there will be more good things happening in our life than something bad. Okay. So the more we accumulate more good, then if the bad is very small, then you may say, oh, this person is so lucky. Everything he does, always successful. Or whatever he does, so many people wants to help him. Well, because his bad merit is very small, that is the reason. Now let's look more into the judgmental mind, because the judgmental mind is the one that is always affected by the 8 winds. So what are the 8 winds? Okay, prosperity or gain, decline or loss, honor, disgrace or defamation, praise, ridicule, pleasure or joy, pain and sorrow. So these are the 8 winds that affect us. The 4 on above makes us happy. The 4 below makes us sad. The 4 below creates suffering for us. So as a result, we desire or cling to all these four above, and then we avoid or despise everything here at the bottom. So according to Master Xing Yun, the ups and downs as well as the praise and slander in life are inevitable parts of life. As such, I propose, remember Master Xing Yun, half and half as a philosophy of life. As the day is filled with light, night is filled with darkness. Spring is warm with blooming flowers, and winter is harsh with extreme coldness. So we have to understand half and half, or in Buddhism, we always hear about the middle path. Okay, that's why you'll see, you'll be able to observe this. The masters, for something happy, they just smile. It's not like for most of us, if something happy, yay, we're so, you know. And then when something bad happened, we're so sad. We're so much affected, right? But the master, they still remain calm and poised, even for things that happen to them on the bottom part. So in short, the masters or many people are not affected by the 8 winds as much anymore, right? So the 8 winds for them is just a wind, and it doesn't sway their emotions that much, okay? Now, one of the things that help us to do this is to understand, for example, impermanence. So whether it's gain, loss, all of these are impermanence. Honor, defamation are all impermanence. Praise, ridicule, defamation. I always say, like, if people say bad words to us about me, it's just the sound. As soon as the person finish saying it, it's gone. It's no longer there, right? But why are we hurt? Because we keep on repeating it in our mind. So in that case, it's no longer the person's fault. It's already our fault. Why? Because we're the ones repeating it here. So if we understand impermanence, then we realize that, oops, that bad words about us is already gone. It's no longer there, right? So in short, if the person wants to hurt you, that person will have to repeat it over and over again. Because as soon as he is finished, it's no longer there, right? Because of impermanence. But that can only happen if we know how to control this mind. Otherwise, the mind will be the monkey mind. It will keep on repeating it for you, right? So how do we cultivate? How should we deal with someone who slanders me, bullies me, insults me, ridicules me, disparages me, belittles me, offends me, or deceives me? So Venerable Master Xing Yun said, just tolerate him, be patient with him, let him be, avoid him, respect him, ignore him, and wait for a few years to see what becomes of him. Remember, what a person does to us is creating his or her own merits or negative merits, right? But how we react to that, whatever that person did, is our own merits and demerits. So if they do something bad, we react good, then even if what he did is bad, still good for us, right? So you can see that we can actually control our life, no matter if it is like what I said earlier, we are we have more bad merits. So our life is full of bad things happening. But how we react to those bad things? If we're able to react in a wholesome way, then you just burn out your bad and then you create wholesome merits. Right? So we have to learn to see this monkey mind, this lightning mind, and make sure that it doesn't act like a lightning and will just react suddenly, right? And the more we practice, then the more we can see through that. So cultivation is easy if we know the Dharma and we practice meditation. The Dharma helps us understand life and our emotions and our reactions. And meditation helps us to be aware and become more mindful. So cultivation will be easy if we practice tolerance and patience. Cultivate one's magnanimity, avoidance, and letting others be are ways to prevent conflict. Respect the space. Show regard for an opponent, allowing one to become greater and stronger. So these all came from Venerable Master Xing Yun on how we can practice tolerance and patience. And then try to understand impermanence. Impermanence means that honor, disgrace, gains, loss are all fleeting. If one is over particular towards them, one will be shackled by them like a prisoner. So in short, if we are so concerned about the 8 winds, then it's like we're tied up by them. Our life is always blown away by one of the 8, right? And the same thing with our 5 senses. If we are so dependent on the 5 senses, then everything we do, we react because of the 5 senses. So I say cultivation is easy, even though I know it's difficult, because this is to encourage all of us. Especially if we know these 3, it will be a lot easier, right? Of course, if you don't know, then definitely it is very difficult. That's why in our weekly meditation at the temple, after the meditation part, we always have a discussion part. Because to just sit and meditate is very difficult. And if nobody tells you the different concepts, it will be very, very difficult. Okay, so as long as we try to keep on learning, especially the Dharma, then things will be easier and easier and easier. Okay, so that's all for the topic for tonight. I hope I'm able to impart something to all of you. And I put here any questions. Doesn't mean that I can answer all of you. If I cannot answer, we have Master Yolin to answer. Okay, so any questions? Anything you want to share? Tonight's topic is not very long. Initially, I thought I'll add more topics, but it's best that we leave with these topics because it's more related. Venerable Master Venerable Yolin, she chose all the topic for each session, and very nice on how she divided the topic. It's very related to each other. Okay. So any questions that you might have? Otherwise, we'll have more exam. If no questions. Let me see. I'll prepare my exam. No, it's not actually exam, but I also prepared a game.
Just now, the one of the questions asked regards this. All teachings expounded by the Buddha has the primary purpose of. I saw the answer. There are two very close, like helping us to reach pure land and remedying all minds. I see like these two answers the most.
Yes. You mean the number of people who answered? Safo?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, that's true. There's more people who answered helping us to reach pure land and remedying all minds. So let's discuss this, Safo, or yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can discuss this because I also thought, and then I choose the wrong answer. I
Yeah.
said, then I'm thinking, oh, what is it? Oh,
Yeah, that's
Tricky.
why Jerome said that this question is very tricky, right? So in the first question, what is nirvana? So the right answer here is a state of mind that is purified, right? So in the discussion, we always talk about trying to purify the mind. So you can say that one end goal, right? That's why we say in Buddhism, one of the goal is nirvana. What is nirvana? Is to purify our mind, right? And definitely Buddhism is not to aspire to be reborn in the heavenly realm. Why we don't want to be reborn in the heavenly realm? Because in the heavenly realm, everything is so nice there. You cannot do any good deeds anymore because nobody is suffering there. Nobody needs your help. You cannot gain good merits there. So what happened is you just burn up all your good merits. And once it's burned up, then after so many lifetime, you'll end up in the lower realm still. So that is not what we try to aspire. Okay. Nirvana, synonyms used by Buddhists as death. Definitely not. Nirvana is not death. Right? Nirvana is a place exclusive to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. No, it's not also. Nirvana is a state of mind that is purified. That's the exact answer. Yeah. So in short, every one of us can have this state if we practice. Right?
maybe I just have additional on the understanding of nirvana. Hopefully, from the sharing, you will know maybe a more because recently I just read also about nirvana and the features of nirvana. One of it is nirvana is like lotus flower. Where is this lotus flower grow? It has to be in the mart, right? So imagine if the mart is like our five desire of the sahawa or the affliction or something, then the nirvana is like a lotus flower. That means from here, my understanding is through the cultivation is not, the wisdom, we have to also go through many difficulties, many challenges, and then we will gain wisdom. So imagine if the mark and everything is like our challenges or the five desire, and we manage to go through it, overcame, then the lotus grow. So like the stage of nirvana. Right. So second, nirvana is like a water. So the water is basically when we thirsty, then we need water, right? So it is also help us to um, purify the mind of things, or when there is, imagine if the fire is like affliction. So we need water to what do you call?
To extinguish the fire suppose.
Yeah, extinguish the fire. So the nirvana is like that, the purpose. And then the other one is nirvana is like medicine that the kill the also affliction or the sickness,
Delusion.
delusion. Yeah. So it can cure all the defilement. So that then nirvana is like a sea. The sea is very big and then is the is boundless. You cannot see where is the end of the sea, right? SEA. So we kind of like the nirvana. It can also to accumulate all the compromise all the sentient being, and it is because the sea is it has no discrimination. It will not see. It will not check on people. You are girls or boy, or it will not discriminate whether it's light or dislike. So the sea is so equal, can say like that. So it is like huge and it's so no very. Okay. Then the nirvana is the fifth. The nirvana is like like food, the food that can cure our hunger. So if you say that hungry is sickness, so this food can cure this problem. And yeah, basically it is also say nirvana is like a wind that blow us to the direction to the direction that reach the Buddhahood, or it's like the bodhicitta mind, the direction to the good way. Okay. Yeah. So basically, those are the features of nirvana. Actually, Master Xing Yun has many. If you read on, this is from the Chinese, of course. The explanation of nirvana, and then he has a characteristic or the features, and he used metaphors to explain to make us understand more. So I think if you will say a state of mind that is purified for nirvana, then maybe you can also understand. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So on the second question, I think all of you will be able to answer this correctly already after the discussion, right? So the first 6 consciousness is the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Okay. The other ignorance, feeling, craving, clinging, becoming, this is part of the 12 links of dependent origination. Okay. So here, if you look at it now, you will now understand what is alaya, what is manas. Okay, so alaya is the storehouse mind or storehouse consciousness. And the manas is the discriminating or the judging mind. Okay, so the third one. So we want to discuss this. All teachings expounded by the Buddha has the primary purpose of A, suppressing our fear in the face of suffering, mitigating our unwholesome deeds in past and present life, helping us reach Pure Land, remedying all minds. So Jerome is right that this question is very tricky because all answers seems to be correct. If we put all of the above, maybe you answer that all of the above. But here the question, here you can see that all teachings expounded by the Buddha has the primary purpose of. So what is the primary purpose? So in the discussion, what did we talk about most of the time or many times?
The mind.
Remedying the mind. Oh,
Yeah. So if we are able to remedy the mind, then we can do all these three already, basically. Right? If our mind is
So
yes, FO?
Oh, yeah. Please continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so if our mind is so pure, then even if we are here on earth, like what Master Xing said, we can build a pure land on earth. Right? So that's why if we can control this, then all these three is solved. Right?
So this question also make me remind of the four objective of Fo Guang San. The fourth one, cultivate. Okay. To purify bodies, to purify others' minds through cultivation. So, because I choose to reach pure end, and then I think, why is it not the answer, but is remedying all minds? And after that, I think, oh yeah, if to go through pure land, we need to cultivate, and first we have to cultivate from our inner first before we will do we will go to the other side. And then the third one, mitigating our unwholesome deeds in the past and present life. This is also, we have to cultivate, and we have to believe in the faith. If we don't believe on what is the way that Buddha showed us, and we're not going to practice the same thing, it is just the text and myself is two different things. Yeah. So of course, the suppressing our fears in face and of suffering, that is also talking about. I think the basic from here, my understanding is still the cultivation go first, and then we can talk about other things. So start from our heart or mind that can accept, and then we willing to have self-examination on the things, and then we will find a way how to, you know, how to cultivate and how to do better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in this particular question, all the answers are right in its own way, but here it's just the primary purpose that the question is looking for, right? So suppressing our fear in the face of suffering, we know that, right? We talk about that in the Four Noble Truths, for example, right? And wholesome, unwholesome deeds, we always talk about that, the bank account, right? So it's correct, but it's all in the mind. And the last one is actually a fill in the blank question. So I just put it here to make it into a multiple choice. And I know the answer was quite obvious, so but I cannot think of an answer that will make it. I'm not wise enough to make it tricky. Okay, so we can try the games. What did I prepare? So I have here the
You know how I can make it a tricky question for that one. You can probably put loving kindness or compassion.
Yeah, I think that will be really tricky. So we'll play the Family Feud again. Let me my control. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, let me. Okay, so it's only 5 rounds. I'll share my screen. Okay, so we'll start with round 1. Oh, very easy. What are the 6 sense organs? You must go first. Again, you can type your answer or you can
Eyes.
respond.
Very
Eyes.
nice.
Oh, number 1 answer. Very good.
Yes.
What? Ears. Oh, Amil, have many answer already?
Ay, only one lang po pala. I thought Pacquiaoan. I thought quiz B enumerate. Charot.
Okay, Janet,
Body,
body, mind. Last one.
mind.
What's number 4?
The last one.
Tongue.
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 Face tongue.
Tongue.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Should be a
Okay.
maker.
Next one.
Very competitive. Alam, may tumatawa. Ay.
Okay, round 2. What are the top 8
Ah,
out of 10 analogies to assist in the implicit understanding of the mind and its appearances? Top 8 only.
sorry late. Sorry late.
Like a
First
monkey.
one is monkey,
Like a
right?
monkey.
Monkey.
Flashlight.
Gosh,
Flash of
Light
Flash of
lightning.
light. A flash of light.
Flash of
Okay,
lightning.
it's flash of lightning, not flashlight. Flashlight is too slow. You turn it
Oh,
on,
dear.
you turn it off.
Wow, dear.
Okay,
Chief.
wild deer.
thief.
Okay, thief.
Adversary. No, I'm just reading the
Adversary.
chat.
Servant. The
Servant.
Servant.
Ever-flowing spring.
Why I don't have the servant here on the answer?
It's only top 8.
I made a mistake. No, servant should be in the top 8.
Yeah. I think
And then said
king was the last
king.
one. King is number 10.
King.
King. Space.
Ever-flowing spring.
Adversary.
Steph has painter.
Painter.
Why
Yeah,
the
that's right.
flowing spring did not open?
Nice
Yeah.
one, Janet.
I think I made a mistake, right? The servant
Yeah.
should be in the top 8.
Yeah. I think the king was the
is
last one. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
King is number 10.
No, king is the 10. The 10 is, remember, is the ultimate. So space.
Space.
Oh, yeah, that's the
Any
space.
space.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just blame the Excel worksheet. for confusing me. Okay, to exist in this world, one needs to have a physical body and within it a soul. What do we call it in Buddhism?
Alaya.
Alaya.
Consciousness.
Consciousness.
Ayala Mall. Ayala consciousness.
Okay, that's one of the answer. What are the other
Wow.
two names?
Yeah,
Or
I
how do we
know.
call the other? Huh?
Nothing. Wait.
Storehouse
Mention it.
consciousness. No?
Storehouse consciousness? Yeah.
Wow.
So about the other one?
The manas.
Eight consciousness.
Yes.
Wow.
Manas is the seventh consciousness, so it's wrong.
Only one.
That was from the Chinese. If I didn't think about the Chinese, I wouldn't have got that answer.
Yeah, round 4.
Okay, round 4. The eighth consciousness does not act independently. Together with the 5 sense consciousness, the 6th consciousness, and the 7th consciousness, the collective known as the
Unconscious. No.
Consciousness.
Conscious.
consciousness and
I don't know the other. Unconsciousness. No.